Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, New Year's Eve in Hobart is set to go out with a whimper rather than a bang. Plans for an alternate Taste of Tasmania event have been scrapped, and there are also doubts over whether fireworks will even go ahead.
At the stroke of midnight, it's the place to be. In May, the Taste of Tasmania was added to the festival scrap heap by COVID-19. Hobart City Council and the state government started working on a smaller replacement, asking the market for ideas. Today they revealed those hopes had been dashed as well.
The issues around mass gatherings, the issues around social distancing, the issues around the borders being reopened, it just made it impossible.
It follows Launceston's Festivale also being wiped off the calendar. The City of Hobart is now turning its attention to block parties and business grants, as well as extending outdoor dining areas. Ironically, the site used by the Taste of Tasmania is currently a COVID testing clinic, and for now, it's here to stay. And there's another key part of the big night now in doubt.
Fireworks are not guaranteed at this stage. We still have to work through some issues with public health.
We are leaning towards at the moment that we are very uncertain with regards to the fireworks display.
The prospect of a quiet night spooking some.
With the taste already being cancelled, the only other thing we've got is the fireworks. And I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't be able to have it. Everyone can spread out if necessary.
It'd be pretty quiet without them, but it'd probably be for the best.
If worse comes to worse, then make your own fun, really.
We might be doing just that. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A notorious stretch of Tasmanian highway will receive a vital upgrade designed to reduce growing gridlock. The road linking SORELL to Hobart is one of many across the state to benefit from a funding boost. But there's already concern the project's rollout will be too slow.
Thousands of cars pass over this narrow road each day, a bottleneck linking Hobart to the east coast. After years of campaigning, the SORELL community now has a cause to celebrate, with an upgrade finally one step closer.
Everything comes through one intersection at SORELL. What this traffic solution will allow is for sensible flow of traffic.
On the eve of the federal budget, $150 million in Commonwealth funding allocated to duplicate the highway. It's money welcomed by the real estate industry, who say congestion is currently so bad it's putting people off purchasing in the area.
We've seen getting worse and worse each year on, year out. Things like this is going to alleviate a lot of that and make the area a lot more attractive.
It is needed. It's really a growth area, the southeast of Tasmania, and we already have plans in place to improve the infrastructure.
But with no time frame outlined, there's already concerns it could end up as a saga, rivaling another long-promised but slow-moving project.
We don't want it to become another Bridgewater Bridge where Tasmanians are waiting endlessly for infrastructure to be built.
A number of other infrastructure projects will also share in the $360 million cash splash. $65 million to upgrade the Tasman Bridge, $40 million for the Bass Highway between Deloraine and Devonport. The Midland and West Tamar highways also sharing in the funding, designed to stimulate an economy shaken by coronavirus.
This is going to grow our economy, create more jobs and make our roads safer.
More to be revealed when the budget is handed down tomorrow. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
An alleged participant in a violent brawl at an Ulverston pub earlier this year has appeared in court. Rupin Thomasy was arrested and charged late yesterday for his involvement in the fight at the Lighthouse Hotel, which involved at least 10 men. Police had issued a warrant for the 26-year-old's arrest. He will reappear in court later this month. There are calls to dramatically boost the number of mental health experts in schools following months of COVID chaos. 2020 has already been a tough year for thousands of students, and now exams are around the corner.
Growing up in a pandemic is hard to explain.
If you're not a student in this time, you can't really understand what it kind of means to be learning during COVID. And
after months of disrupted classes earlier this year and now end-of-year exams on the way, students say mental health is more important than ever before.
I think it's top of the list for something we need to get done, because a lot of the reasons that people keep to themselves and sort of try and deal with it on their own is because there's no one around to reach out to.
A concern also shared by Toby's father, Earl.
Readjusting from working at home and then going back to school has been a struggle for them, but it's something that they've done well. And the schools, I have to say, have done an outstanding job.
Labor wants to see a dedicated mental health worker in every school.
It's a $10 million recurrent commitment every year. We're calling on the state government to adopt our policy in this year's state budget.
The government says it's already spending way above that.
We're now spending over $80 million in terms of mental health in our schools. This is a terrific commitment. So we've brought in the school nurses, we've reintroduced that. We've got more funding support for psychologists, social workers.
Much needed support as a year like no other comes to an end for thousands of students. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The future of a homeless support service in Hobart remains unclear due to funding uncertainty. City Mission's Safe Space Day program is now running out of the charity's main site after being moved from a previous location, and it's experiencing high demand.
For those struggling with addiction or homelessness through the COVID-19 pandemic, support services have provided a crucial lifeline.
We try to provide a friendly atmosphere, and this is no judgment here. This is a neutral zone. This is a safe place. You can come here and we take you as you are. Yeah.
City Mission's Safe Space Day program having a big impact since restarting in August.
Well, we're getting the feedback that a lot of them feel more comfortable because they can come up to a space like this, have something to do, warm food, people to talk with.
The underlying purpose of running the program is actually to work with rough sleepers to reconnect with the support systems that exist. So a lot of them haven't had a fixed address. They've fallen out of connection with the likes of Centrelink and so on.
The program now housed at City Mission's Barrack Street site after being forced to move out of the Youth Arc Centre.
We don't know for sure whether we've got funding beyond the end of this year at this stage. So it was very hard to find premises, so we ended up being in a position where we decided that we'd repurpose part of our own building.
Staff at this centre seeing a swift uptake of the essential services since reopening.
I guess, and we just, we hit the ground running because we had to. We enjoy our role here, because, we're helping, and that's what we want to do.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Coronavirus crowd restrictions have forced organisers to cancel the Botanical Gardens annual theatre program. For years, families have been flocking to the much-loved Big Monkey production in Hobart, performed throughout the site's grounds across summer. Work was already underway for this season's adaptation of Treasure Island, but organisers say maximum audience numbers are too low to make it viable. They're now hoping to be back again next year. Applications are being encouraged for the next round of the state government's $5 million Weed Action Fund. Small grants of up to $10,000 are being made available in Stage 2, with the money to be used for control and eradication planning.
We're looking for community groups and farmers to tackle those weeds on their properties, their neighbours' properties, working together to reduce the weed burden.
This is about changing the culture over a long period of time to make it everybody's responsibility. So this is the worst time in Tasmanian history to be a weed.
Landowners are encouraged to contact NRM North, who are managing the program's current stage.
Another showdown is looming between state league clubs and AFL Tasmania. Planned funding cuts and uncertainty over the league's future will be front and centre at a meeting tomorrow. North Hobart's won 27 State League flags in its long and proud history, but the fight for survival in the year of cutbacks may just be its biggest test.
I know that the game has copped a huge hit,
But the extra amount of money that they could provide us is pretty much a rounding error on a balance sheet for the AFL.
Craig Martin and other club presidents will argue against plans to strangle funding beyond this year when they meet with head of AFL Tasmania Damien Gill tomorrow. Certainty around the competition beyond 2023 is also being sought.
It's bad business practice and it's got to stop, and we need some surety going forward.
On the field, former Premiership Pie Clinton French has been announced as Richard Robinson's successor as coach. He'll also advocate for the competition's future.
I just hope that the mainland can see that we need a good, strong state league to get people drafted, but then also the people that don't get drafted, like, they deserve to play in a quality comp.
Meanwhile, Keenan DOUCE guided home one of the goals of the year in the NPL as Kingborough cruised to a 5-2 win over Clarence Zebras. The skipper will need to stay in form with some big games coming up against South Hobart and Olympia.
The biggest advantage that we've got is that the last 2 out of 3 games is down at the Den. And we've kind of made it a really hard place for teams to go. And we haven't been beaten down there.
Hobart has scored the 2021 National Netball Championships. The under-17 and under-19 competitions will be held at the Hobart Netball and Sports Centre in July. And Richie Ports wrapped up his season in the Liège-Bastogne-Liège race overnight. The Tasmanian finished 16th. Primoz Roglic stole the win from Julian Alaphilippe, who celebrated a little too early and threw away the win.
Good evening. Below average temperatures today, with the top only 15 at Smithton and Burnie. Hobart 10 degrees, Launceston and Devonport 13. Ooze 14 today. It was 13 on King Island, Low Head, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Strawn all 12. Flinders Island and Grove 11. Lyawini a top of 3. The cloud band slowly moved across today in the 24 hours to 9 a.m. 69 millimetres fell at Waiatina, and today the best fall 17 millimetres at Blessington. The large cloud band extends southeastward from the Northern Territory to our region. A little more cloud over coastal Queensland and New South Wales and southern parts of South and Western Australia. Tomorrow a high over the Bight extends a ridge over Tasmania. A cold front crosses New South Wales in the morning. Winds at 10 to 20 knots from the southwest over southern waters, mostly variable elsewhere, with easterlies at 10 to 20 knots developing over the north. A flood warning has been issued for the Coal River, a frost warning for the Midlands and Upper Derwent Valley. Forecast for tomorrow: partly cloudy in Hobart, 16 the top, 15 for Adventure Bay. Tarraleah, an early frost, a sunny afternoon, -4 to 13 the temperature range. Launceston up to 16 and partly cloudy, cloudy for Devonport and also Bridport, 14 the top. 14 also for Burnie, partly cloudy, sunny for Strawn with 14 the maximum, same for Marrawar, and St Helens tomorrow expecting a high of 14 as well, partly cloudy, bit of sun over Swansea, 16 the top and 15 for Whitemark. Rain over King Island on Wednesday, slowly extending across the northern half of the state. Rain again on Thursday, possibly heavy over the north and northwest, and on Friday rain easing to showers, becoming less likely over the north and east in the evening. Mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow, becoming cloudy over Adelaide, a shower developing in Melbourne, cloudy and 22 in Sydney, Brisbane 27 and a storm likely over Darwin. Partly cloudy at the moment, Hobart 9 degrees, Launceston and Devonport both 12, and it's still light out there at the moment, Kim. But it is important and it's interesting how many people get all upset and anxious about daylight saving time. Me, I didn't lose any sleep over it.
Oh, should have seen that coming, shouldn't I? Thank you very much, Merv. See you tomorrow. That's your news for this evening. Thanks for your company tonight. On behalf of the entire team, good night.